What's up? It's Matt. Another Friday, another expert roundup, another offer. We got this man, Cater or Die, live with us. We're going to go deep, talk about catering and restaurants. Be back in a second. Michael, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Matt. How are you?
I'm living the dream, man. What is it? Dave Ramsey says better than I deserve. So tell everybody about you, about the book, about your business, and then we'll dig into some conversation about restaurant catering.
Sure. So I started in the business when I was 16, washing dishes. Fast forward, I worked at a place called Corky's Barbecue in college, end up being one of their first franchisees. Oh,
What happened?
that's funny. We did over $1 million a year in catering out of 104-seat restaurants. So I started teaching other restaurant owners how to double their profits with catering. When I sold my restaurant in 2005, started a catering software company, CaterZen.
Yep.
And so we help full service, drop off, and soon to be private party room booking. And the book tells you it's literally an A to Z blueprint on how to build your catering business.
I wish there was an A to Z blueprint on getting my daughter to quit FaceTiming me. She's that's what that weird noise was. She's home from college out of nowhere, and she keeps FaceTiming me today, thinking it's funny. And I'm like, hey, my computers are kind of hooked to stuff. But
that's what call blocking's for. But
I hear that. So, Cater or Die. What was the motivation behind the book? Obviously, you've been in a business for a long time. You've got the company CaterZen. You understand that at a very, I guess you could say, Zen-like level. What was the motivation behind the book? Is it just because restaurants, it's just such a missing piece?
The short answer is money. The long, why do you write a book?
Oh, right? Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
ego or money. So it's a lead gen for our business. But even if nobody ever does business with me, literally, I think very formulaically. A lot of times you read books and they have lots of great concepts, but they don't put them in succession. It's like, okay, now I got to go back and figure what I do first, second, third. And the way my brain reverse engineers things are like, look, this is the first thing you should do. This is the second. This is the third. And literally walks them through it because there's so much money on the table, not catering. You could probably get 10% if you just focus on the basics because your current customer base loves you. Give them a reason to order from you one other time, that $200-$300 for a pool party, daughter's wedding, rehearsal dinner, whatever it is, office party. There's just so many opportunities to cater your food.
No, I agree. And it's a lot of restaurants, it's a mystery. And I think the pandemic, at least, I would imagine it paused a lot of the corporate catering, but it opened up that family catering a lot more from what I've heard from our restaurants around the country. Did you see anything or hear anything from a lot of the clients of CaterZen that they got more into the small party catering when the pandemic hit and now they're kind of full speed with it?
So we had to pivot our software to meet the needs of our client base. So a lot of them would get into bulk meals, right? Okay. So you and your family aren't going out to dinner, but y'all don't want to cook 7 nights a week. So like, hey, this restaurant has got some great meals, for a family of 4, and you could pick them up at, in your neighborhood, at a, if you live in a community center or school, whatever. So they would sell bulk meals to families. And so they needed special time rules, delivery rules, whatever. But we saw a lot of our clients, there's an old, I forgot who the bank robber was. Some famous bank robber said, why you rob banks? Because that's where the money's at. So the same thing is there's always money to be made. I had a client, I think his big niche was firefighters during all those, during COVID, there was all the fires out in California. Well, somebody's feeding those people, three shifts, 24/7 till the fire's out, right? There's, people who are working in hospitals, people that have to go, Amazon still rolls. So people are driving trucks, they're working in distribution centers. There's always somebody catering, right? There's a need for it. And it might not be what you were used to. And it's who's going to get up on their butt and go after the business. Because most restaurant owners, they think, hey, I make the best burger. I make the best ribs. I've got the best pasta. Well, I should be busy just off that. You got to get up and get after it. And that's what I like about catering is you can go knock on doors and you're not limited to that 3 mile radius around your restaurant. We used to drive 2 hours to cater factories and distribution centers that had, 1,000 people.
Yeah, the catering opportunity is huge. And one thing I've heard from a lot of our clients we work with across the country that the office stuff isn't back yet. Like a lot of the cities, Chicago,
Right.
Cincinnati, those aren't there, but there's opportunities. I mean, I've catered 3 meals this week at our office. We're a smaller company. We're not, we got 20 to 30 employees at a time here sometimes, so we'll cater smaller stuff. But I think also the opportunity to get out in the community a little differently. And it's almost always we get people that reach out to us. I'm curious on your feedback on this. People reach out to me, Matt, I want to do catering. I want to market catering. And I'm like, well, let's start by marketing to the people who eat in your restaurant every week. Because if I've never eaten in your restaurant, why the hell am I ordering 50 meals? But if I eat there every week, that's where I'm going to go when I know what you can do.
Well, that's the low hanging fruit, obviously, right? And then the second low hanging fruit is anybody who'll sample your product. Because even if I've never eaten at your restaurant, if somebody personal comes out and introduces themselves, drops off a brochure and some food, and it's good food, I might give you a shot because I want something different.
Yep.
But what I want to point out is a niche that we're seeing is more private parties are being booked. So my daughter works, she's a public accountant for Ernst & Young. And what they're doing is, because they're not in the office rarely, they're all working from home, but they have budgets to do team get-togethers where there's a team happy hour, a team outing, a team dinner. And she plans a lot of that for her team. So they're just taking those same funds and saying, look, we're not getting that camaraderie and fellowship in the office. How can we bring them in for something else? So it's just, it's the same thing, just a different name, right? It's catering on premise in your room. Some people are actually putting up tents in their parking lot, that are, that are doing it right. There's just so many opportunities. It's just being willing to take them and go after it.
What do you see with your software? What are some of the other opportunities that the restaurants are losing? Do you see one thing I see that we talk about a lot? Our whole company, our mantra is attract, build, retain. How do you attract attention for your brand? How do you build a database from that attention, and how do you retain those customers? I would imagine one of the things you see is probably not enough data going into the Zen program to get people in there. Because that's at the end of the day, who's in there is who you can market to, right?
Well, sort of the nature of our beast, you have to put data in there. If you're taking someone's order, you can't order a pizza and not give them your name and phone number and address, right? Because it's got to get delivered and they have to have a phone number. Same thing, you're ordering catering. Okay, it's Matt, what's your address, whatever. So that's not the problem. The problem is, what do you do after that, right?
Okay.
So I see people aren't emailing enough. They're not using snail mail enough. We have thank you programs, loyalty programs, reactivation campaigns, referral programs. We have a phone system built in our software. You can keep up with people's birthdays and call all your customers that are having a birthday. Hey, Matt, Michael at Corky's, happy birthday. I'm going to send you out a $10 gift card. We appreciate your catering business. By the way, I see you hadn't ordered in a couple weeks. You got anything coming up?
Yep.
Or people who had an order yesterday. Hey, I'm just checking to see how did everything go. Did my team take good care of you? You got anything else coming up? This is all low hanging fruit. Or, hey, I was going over your ticket, Matt, and I noticed you didn't have drinks and dessert on that. Do y'all have that covered, or would y'all like to add that on? Oh, man, I forgot all about that.
Yep.
Right. So these are all just no brainer. Like, same thing with your website. Like, we just launched a new online ordering interface template, brand new whiz bang. And so a couple of the features are, besides it being gorgeous and new and what have you, and lots of graphical images you can put in, we allow you to put in a lead capture form that goes into our software. So if somebody wants to fill out a catering inquiry form, it goes in there and you capture a lead and can start nurturing those leads. There's so many opportunities that people are just,
they're missing out on.
They don't do the basics.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned what I was alluding to earlier was what you mentioned there at the end was data going into it that aren't selling, that people that aren't buying catering. The one thing we see, we've got a software or our own internal mechanism that we use to monitor what restaurants are doing. there's 6 items that we look at that we, when they come to us, if there's somebody we want to talk to, how can we help them if we can? And number 1 is mobile friendly website, which is kind of crazy to think 2022 that they don't exist.
Right.
But right now it's americasbestrestaurants.com/stats. And we decided to market and publish this page because we had never globalized the stats. We always looked at it 1-to-1. And when we realized all the data was in there, somebody's like, let's see what the percentages are. And it was 76% right now of the places that we have audited have a mobile friendly website. 24% don't. I'm like, how the hell is that possible? That just blows my mind.
Right.
But the other mechanisms are their website is used to gather customer data without selling, not catering, not ordering online, but grab customer data. Are they using automation with that customer data? Are they grabbing customer data in the restaurant? Are they actively using social media and getting engagement of the items? And the one that really gets me a lot is the lack. I think it's right now 3%. And this is a lot of cumulative data from restaurants across the country. I've been to 1,000 restaurants the last 24 months. 2 weeks ago, I put the kibosh. I'm done traveling. I'm here at the headquarters hanging out for a couple of years. My team's traveling because I saw what I needed to saw. I saw what I needed to see. But what cracked me up was the fact that 97% of when you walk in restaurants, 97 out of 100 are not making an effort to get Matt Plapp's information, your name, your phone number, your birthday, your visit loyalty.
Not a shocker.
And it blows me away because I'm like, man, that's the low hanging fruit, as you said. And when you look at the catering side of it, I talked to a lot of people. I'm like, you're catering, because they asked, like, I saw one place that was using your software recently, and I talked to them about it, and they were showing me it because I hadn't seen it as deep as they showed me. And I'm like, man, why aren't you you got a ton of people that have ordered from you. Where are your leads? What do you mean? I'm like, you got 1,000 people a week coming to your restaurant. I guarantee you there's 100 people coming in here that are ordering catering from somewhere. They just haven't thought of you.
Yeah. And one of the promotions we teach our clients is do a drawing, free lunch for 10 for your office. And then, the problem people make when they have these forms, they don't ask qualifying questions. So for instance, when's your birthday? Well, I want to know your birthday. So put you in a birthday club.
Yep.
But for an office, where do you work? How many people in your office? Who's in charge of ordering lunch? Well, you have everything to market to that person's office, whether you might fill out the form, but you're not in charge of ordering lunch, right? You've got an admin or HR person or whatever. But now I know that it's Susie in HR who's in charge. There's 27 people in your office. I know where the hell you work. Well, I got everything I know. And guess what? You can afford to give everybody a free lunch. Remember back in the day, we had this place called French Riviera Spa. Register to win a free membership. Sorry, you didn't win a membership, for a year, but you got 30 days free. What was it? It's lead gen to get you in a free sample. Great. You won free lunch for 10. It doesn't cost me bupkis to feed your office for 10 if they're qualified, right?
Yep.
And I would call it a giveaway, not a drawing. Drawing insinuates that I'm drawing one name. Giveaway means I could give it away to everybody.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not giving legal advice, but you get the point.
Yep.
Congratulations, you've won.
Yep. Yeah, we do similar stuff we were talking about. We get a lot through Facebook and Instagram. We had a client recently who had I think it was about 8 months ago, that he had been trying to get into Walmart in his region to do stuff because he had heard they catered a lot of stuff every week.
Yeah.
Hadn't had luck through the normal mechanisms of cold calling and calling up there and stopping by and all that good stuff. Facebook ad that we put up within a week. We have an ad that comes up when a catered party for your next event, your office, your family. They go into our messenger tool and we find out who they are, what their position of the company is. Same thing you said, size of your company, how often you order. Next thing you know, he's getting 8 Walmarts ordering from him from a Facebook ad, from acquiring the person. And the person, when they came through it, oh, I'm a big fan of your restaurant. I had never thought of you guys for here because you're a sit down restaurant to me, and I just never came top of mind. But you've got to have those tools in place in contests and giveaways. And the other aspect of catering, which I think is a dropped ball. We have a client that the way they use their email follow-up is whenever somebody orders from them, they have a follow-up email that goes out and says, hey, thank you. We appreciate it. By the way, forward this email to your entire staff. There's a button down here to click, and they get a free appetizer on their next visit to the restaurant. One guy had 300 people click the button. It was like an 800-person company. Now, they only catered for like 15 people when they did the catering. But this person went, oh, crap, free appetizer? Forward it to the entire company database because she saw value. A couple hundred people click the button. Next thing you know, he's got 50 people walking in the restaurant for a regular retail visit from a catering order.
Right. Absolutely.
Because catering can be probably, I would imagine, probably your best marketing that you could ever ask for, because people are getting your product that may or may not have been there before, and it's your chance to shine.
Yeah, I call it, you get paid to advertise your restaurant.
Yeah. What are some of the things you've seen successful outside of the restaurant with catering? I was out in California, one of the donut guys out there, donut bar, Chef Santiago, said that he actually doesn't put his logos and anything on the boxes when he does catering for businesses. He wants people to ask where the donut's from. And that was completely opposite of what I had thought. But he's like, Matt, when the logo's on there, everybody knows it and then nobody asks. But when somebody's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, and they ask Sherry who ordered it, oh, it's donut bar, here's their card. Thoughts?
You know, are you asking about that or just in general?
Yeah, just in general, like what are some of your things you've seen?
You know, the best thing, I like niche marketing.
Okay.
I've hit, and my clients have hit some big home runs, not spent a lot of money. So I'll give you a perfect example. Every CPA is busy first quarter of the year doing tax returns, right? Yep. So they're working nights, weekends. My daughter's audit season right now, and she's busy with that. So all these CPA firms are busy. So they're buying meals, right?
Yep.
And so we put together a letter. We took a 1040 tax form and made it the backdrop of a sales letter. You put in a letter addressed to the managing partner, important tax document enclosed, red stamp it. It's going to get open. You know, I had a guy who was doing, I don't know, $5,000, $10,000 during tax season, just, you know, sending out 50 letters. I mean, nothing. Probably one of the single best promotions I ever did. I wonder if it's behind me. I created a sales letter. It was black background, white lettering. I printed on transparency film. Probably half the people listening to this don't even know what transparency film is.
I remember it from high school, man.
Yeah.
Overhead projectors.
Yeah. So we put in a big envelope, put x-ray film, do not bend, and send it to the HR director of 20 hospitals for hospital week. We booked over $17,000 worth of catering from that. And then Black Friday, we went after all the retailers. First year, we booked $6,000 in drop-off catering in one day. Best year we ever had, we did $12,000. Wow. So it's in the way you do that is you look at who's buying your food now, right? And then say, okay, other people like that have the same needs, same type of people. Let's go find more like it. It's super simple to do.
No, that's a great point. We had our boat dealership. One of the biggest things I did to increase our sales was we were selling 300-400 boats a year back in like 2002, 2003. And I took a map of the city up because I had never actually looked where they were coming from. We just sold a bunch of boats.
Yeah.
And so I started putting pins. This is pre what you can do now online. Started putting pins on the board. I was like, man, look at the population right here. And then we started kind of mining to see what the reasoning was. And it worked amazing. It's the same thing here. You look at this and go, oh my gosh, we had 2 fire departments order last month. Well, there's 30 fire departments within 20 minutes of here. Let's go mine where they're at.
And that's exactly how we actually did it by accident, because the first year we were in business, a big retail store ordered food for 200 people. I didn't even know what Black Friday was. I mean, I'm a dude. I had no idea when I was 27 what it was. And the woman was like, oh, it's Black Friday. And we ordered. I'm like, well, are you the only one? Oh, no, everybody's busy. I'm like, well, damn, I need to go after these people. Or a labor union. One year we had a labor union order on Labor Day. Imagine that. You think Labor Day is just the day you go out on the boat, right?
Oh yeah.
But it's about the unions in America, right? Yep. So all these labor unions, they're throwing parties for their members. So go to the damn labor unions and say, hey, we want to do something with you. And you know,
one of the biggest that I know of, because I've seen it a lot and people really miss and don't think about, is when the last weekend of the month for a car dealership. Car dealers are the hardest charging people I know. They go 1st to 31st, man. And when it's the last 2 or 3 days, there's somebody in that place chomping to hit that number, and people don't leave. I've got friends of mine's restaurants that they have a habit 10 days before the month is up, calling every car dealer, stopping by, and they're cranking out catering orders.
Right. It's for the guy who's willing to hustle. You know, people make excuses. Oh man, business is down. Yep. Well, rip off your ass and go after it. It's there.
Sitting on your hands.
And you know, there's a saying for back. I don't know who came up with it. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. You don't have to be the best salesman. You just have to be better than all the schmoes in your neighborhood who are doing nothing. At 2:00, they're going to Costco, eating a hot dog, and buying groceries to save 10 cents when they should be taking that 2 hours to figure out how to hustle more business.
I love it there. Well, it's the old saying, they're stepping over $1 to save a dime. Well, I love it. Been great info. And obviously they can find you at CaterZen.com, I would imagine, right?
We have a lot of free resources on how to build catering sales and all sorts of things related to that. And I mean, we just keep adding on to what our system can do. We don't stop improving.
Well, it's powerful. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate the great information. Make sure you get the book, get online, get the book, read it, check out CaterZen. And I've seen it. There's a lot of great resources on there, tips, tricks, things you can do to increase your sales. Any closing words before we tune off?
Nothing happens until someone sells something.
And that's a huge thing, because restaurant owners, a lot of businesses fail to realize they are salespeople.
Yeah. They're servers to them and everybody in between.
Yep. Well, I appreciate it, my man. Have an awesome weekend.
Thanks, Matt. Take care.
Hey, Michael.